Okay, they're coming. Cool. Hello, everyone coming in. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting in a little bit. We're just giving a little bit of time for people to arrive.
Oops.
Hello, everyone coming in. We're just waiting a few more seconds for people to join us before we get started. All right. I think we'll get started. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to today's BOMA Hawaii Lunch and Learn. My name is Gail Abrina Agas, and I am this year's BOMA Hawaii President-elect. I'm also your host for today's virtual Lunch and Learn with BOMA Hawaii Platinum sponsor, SP Plus, a leading provider of parking, transportation, and mobility-related services in North America. Today, SP Plus is going to introduce us to Sphere Technology, a new brand that brings together top-tier mobility and parking technology solutions under a single provider. Quick housekeeping items and announcements before we begin. Our speaker will be accepting questions during the presentation. So should you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A and not in the chat. If you have done so already, please check your emails for your Grubhub e-gift card that you receive as a registered participant of today's Lunch and Learn. If you haven't received your gift card, feel free to contact us at bae@bomahawaii.com. Some reminders. Team and sponsor registration is open until October 15th for our annual BOMA Hawaii Golf Tournament that's happening on Friday, November 5th at Hawaii Prince Golf Course. Don't forget to register at bomahawaii.com. If you are on social media, so are we. Please follow us. We are listed under BOMA Hawaii on Instagram and Facebook. I want to mention our next member program will be held on Wednesday, August 18th. It will be an in-person talk story with key industry players in retail with tours of Kahala Mall and Ku Ono Marketplace. Registration will be up soon, so please keep an eye out on our social media or on the BOMA Buzz emails, which will announce when registration is open. If you know anyone that may be interested in joining BOMA Hawaii, we are still offering our mid-year membership deal until the end of the month. Please refer them to us at bae@bomahawaii.com. And now let me introduce our distinguished speaker, John Tavares, who will be introducing us all to Sphere by SP Plus. John is a regional manager for SP Plus with more than 20 years of experience in strategic planning, new market identification, and process improvement in the facility services industry. He's been with SP Plus Parking since 2009 after 10 years in the janitorial and security sectors. And he is very active in the local business community. Thank you so much, John, for being here, and to SP Plus for being a BOMA Hawaii Platinum sponsor. We are looking forward to your presentation, and with that, I'm pleased to turn it over to you.
Great, thank you, Gail. Thank you, BOMA, and the full team for allowing us to have this presentation, and particularly helping us with the technology of how to deliver this. I think we've all become much better at Zoom and whatnot, but it can be challenging and difficult sometimes as well if you're not an expert. So I thank you all for being here. We are very excited to introduce to this group our Sphere technology platform that SP Plus has developed after many years and stops and starts to try to become that mobility one-stop shop for facilities with parking. The suite that we have of solutions really drives end-to-end mobility. And in parking, we talk about frictionless. And any of you have parking facilities, you'll hear that more and more in terms of being Really, the goal as consumers want more technology, easier ways to interact with your facility, and now in a post-COVID world, touchless, not having to deal with equipment or even persons sometimes. So let me jump right into it. Sphere has several elements, all under the umbrella of our Parking.com brand and website. Sphere Commerce, Sphere Remote, Sphere IQ, Sphere Custom, and Sphere Express. And we're going to go through these one by one to show how any one of these points may impact your facility. You know, Sphere Commerce is really our main product that we've brought to the market. It manages reservations, on-demand parking, mobile point of sales, and enforcement. So let's take a look at that. You know, through our Parking.com website, we can do online reservations, and we've had this capability for quite some time. This is really geared towards advanced purchases and reservations, and it comes into play for events, for things like stadiums, concerts, those types of one-time events, as opposed to what we now call on-demand. We have on-demand services, and that's the big upgrade for Sphere now, where we can manage parking at a gateless facility. A lot of times that would be a surface lot, or certain garages that don't have gates and are just open to cars to come in. And then, of course, many of our customers do have gates, and we have Sphere as well to manage payments and processing of customers through gated facilities. So let's take a look at those. We do have a mobile point of sale device that we can use at event parking, whether it's a one-time event where you don't have hardwired equipment, and that is through a mobile device, whether a tablet or phone type device. We have Sphere Valet, which we are using currently here in Honolulu, working very well to manage hotel and any type of valet parking. And then all of these Sphere products link with our enforcement app, where we can monitor and manage the payments and the traffic at a facility through our system with license plates, which we'll talk about in a moment. And the enforcement app will work for monthly parking, it'll work for transient parking, and it'll work even in scenarios where we're not using Sphere, whether it's monthly parking in a non-gated facility, where in the past you'd have hang tags perhaps. Now we can use license plate technology to manage that monthly parking and do the enforcement. And again, that's a service we're up and running with here in Honolulu right now. So with our app, and it's available on any app store, I encourage you to take a look and download it, because you will start seeing these at some of our facilities. You go in, and at any of the facilities, you'll have signage to educate customers and parkers how to interact with the app and how to pay for their parking. And you've seen these kinds of signs with other systems here in Honolulu, particularly at surface lots. But I think the differentiator here now is that we have many ways to access the app, as well as many ways to get through a gate as well, which we'll go into. You can go right to the app. You can scan the QR code. You can even text to pay. And different people like different things. If they want to create an account at Parking.com because they're going to be using these facilities on a regular basis, that would be the best way to go. If it's something where you first time, you don't want to go through creating your own account, you can pay by text or scan and have a guest session. And you've seen that with other types of technologies as well. It's very user-friendly. For gated solutions, the Sphere technology can work in conjunction with a system you already have. We just put in some small devices at the entry and exit for a seamless check-in and check-out experience. The check-in process would include downloading the mobile app, on Apple or Android, creating an account with your payment and vehicle information. And like I said, you can just be a guest if that's what you prefer. You'd pull up to the gate. The cloud-enabled gate kit will either read your license plate. We can connect with the phone's Bluetooth, text, and even voice to open the gate. The Parking.com engine will calculate your parking based on how long you're there at the facility, and will email the customer a receipt for what they've been charged. Some of the components that are required would be what we call a gate controller, entry and exit beacons, the NFC and QR code stickers, certainly internet connection and a modem, and signage to support everything. Guest phone number and LPR cameras are optional items. And not counting the optional, these kits are fairly inexpensive. I think we're looking at under $10,000 to put these in. LPR cameras do add some additional expense, but as we'll talk about here in a moment, that is a very strong way to go with the LPR cameras. So the mobile app flow would be to open the app, begin the parking session, you'll end your session, and it'll provide a receipt through the app if you're app enabled. So with gateless facilities, and of course there are many facilities that don't have made that investment into large-scale parking equipment because they've not charged for parking. A lot of times that decision to not charge for parking is based on the capital expense to get that equipment in place. Of course, it's what's right for your facility and what will the market bear. But you are seeing some facilities try to leverage their parking where they'll provide free parking to their customers in a retail environment. But if you want to park at that lot and go elsewhere, they provide ability for someone to pay. And I think you're already seeing that at certain facilities in Honolulu. I think you'll see that more and more as folks try to monetize that asset in a better way. So, in the past, without making that large equipment investment, you really couldn't monetize that parking facility. Now with an option like Sphere, using LPR cameras for enforcement, you can deliver a great experience for your customers and still capture parking revenues. So, customer entry flow, we talk about removing friction in a no gate and touchless experience. Enter the facility. The LPR reads the vehicle plate, but it's not just the plate anymore. LPR cameras have advanced to the point where now it's reading the color of the car, the model, the make, in addition to the license plate, which makes for a higher read rate and much better accuracy than the older cameras that just simply read the license plate. As they enter, the camera captures that car. We start the session. The signage at the facility supports having that parker register to make sure that they're paying for their session. And the system knows that they've registered. If they don't, then sure, it links in with the enforcement side, so that we may have cars at this facility that haven't registered, and the cloud knows. It's very interesting. And we can deploy enforcement personnel as appropriate to that facility. When the customer exits the facility, again, the camera is going to read that vehicle exiting and close that session, and then automatically calculate the appropriate payment and process, emailing the customer. So it's very, very smooth and very user-friendly for those customers. One of the keys obviously is the read rates and having that be at a very, very high level. If it's only reading 80% of the license plates and cards, you're not going to have as successful an experience, and it gets bumpy for that parker. So that was a big part of this development, to make sure that this is something that we can deploy with confidence to these facilities. Again, we have our enforcement module. Here's just a little snapshot of what that looks on the enforcement side. And our system will even email our staff to let us know what's happening. And this is something we can even share with the client so they can see what is those percentages, what are those numbers of cars entering, cars paying, how long they're staying, that type of data, which helps everybody manage the facility and that parking asset. Sphere IQ. This is a custom set of technologies to improve facility management. Analytics with our Sphere system is a dashboard where we can take real-time data from your parking system and run it through our website to deploy to that customer, giving you a ton of data that you may have never seen. And it improves your ability to make decisions for your facility regarding pricing, regarding capacity, regarding parking efficiency for that facility, something that really hasn't been available previously. We use MySpot, which is our cloud-based tool. We are using this at all of our facilities in Honolulu and across the country. And what this does is give our parking managers the ability to maintain and update information regarding a parking facility, including transient rates, inventory, amenities at the garage, pictures of the garage, entry addresses, exit addresses, and it pushes it out to the web. One of the key areas it pushes to is Google, so that Google has a great understanding of what that garage has. But there's other third-party sellers of parking, other third-party information aggregators that are taking that parking information and giving it out to the public. So you want that to be accurate and clean, and that's what MySpot does for us. We've also got our new Sphere rate surveys. As we provide rate surveys to clients, it's always an important part of your pricing decisions. Our Sphere rate survey tool is gathering information across the web of neighboring properties and like-sized properties, the key ones that you want to compare your parking rates and availability to in your little sub-market, whether that's downtown Honolulu, Kapiolani Corridor, Kaka'ako, et cetera. You want to see what other like and neighboring properties have. And we're using this survey tool as well here in this market. Sphere Remote. This is not a new service. It's been rebranded under our Sphere platform, but this is what we would normally call remote management services, where we can provide customer services 24/7 into a parking facility without staff necessarily on site. We have this at over 400 garages nationwide, including about 10 here in the Hawaii market. With a couple more coming in the next 6 to 8 months. So this is something that's been very well received and works very well in these garages, where we can lower your staffing, lower that large staffing expense, and provide much more efficient customer service to that garage. With our remote services, we have a couple different levels. Standard would be our basic monitoring, where we can communicate with the lane, open a gate if needed. Integrated is what we're doing here mostly in Honolulu, where our customer service agents at our call center can actually see into the parking system and see what that customer experience is, what kind of validation they have on their ticket. They can change the rate if needed. They can manage monthly parking right there live in the lane, configure rates, and also track everything they're doing so that we get very specific reporting on exactly the touch points they're having with the customers on a day, weekly, and monthly basis. We also have Sphere Admin, which lets us provide some of the back of the house features on our reporting and daily revenue management in a much more efficient manner. Instead of running those reports on site with staff that needs to handle that, our remote center can daily log into the system, pull all the reports they have, and reconcile our physical revenue, our credit card revenue with exactly what's happening in the lanes. Obviously, that helps us with segregation of duties, and it's some redundancies, but a very efficient way to provide those management back of the house services to the garage. Sphere Custom. This is a unique service to some of our larger portfolio clients. We do this with folks such as Equity Office Properties, Brookfield, folks like that, where we can come up with a custom parking guide for their tenants, create a tenant parking portal. We can even label a tenant mobility app for that client with their logos, specific to their buildings or building, and deliver that information to their customers in a really cool and unique way. Again, parking guides, tenant portals for parking, and monthly parkers, visitor parkers, and even their own app on occasion. Finally, we have Sphere Express. We have a subsidiary called Bags that handles around the country baggage delivery, baggage handling at airports, baggage handling for different airlines. And we use our Sphere app to manage those services. We do remote airline checking. We do luggage delivery. And on-site at airports, we do wheelchair assistance, porters, any type of luggage handling and remote check-in, all done through our Sphere Express app. That concludes our presentation. You know, I hope this is helpful, and I'm sure there's going to be questions, and happy to answer any questions we have. And I encourage you to follow up with me at any time, and happy to talk about building specifics. As you all know, every building's a little different, and every building has different needs. A lot of this is very customizable. It may not be right for your building or for your part of town, but it may be, and I think we can get really creative with some of the opportunities that your buildings have. So look forward to working with any of you that would like to pursue this further.
If anybody has any questions, feel free to type it into the Q&A. And John, I have a easy one for you to start with. And for those of us who aren't very familiar with SP Plus's footprint, can you tell us where you folks are deployed currently, who some of your clients are on the island or in the state?
Sure. We've got approximately 45 locations across Hawaii. You know, we've got about 5 locations on the island of Maui. We run the airport at Kona International Airport over on the Big Island. In about 40 locations here in Oahu. Run all the Kaiser facilities, Tripler Army Medical Center, lots of shopping centers, including International Marketplace, and Royal Hawaiian Center, Salt at Kaka'ako. You know, office buildings, including First Insurance Center, Pacific Guardian Center, Executive Center, you know, many others. I don't want to leave anybody out, so the list goes on. But you know, work with hotels as well. Halekulani is getting ready to reopen October 1st. We just opened their garage last month with Sphere Remote Services, actually, at Halekulani Hotel. So,
gotcha. Thank you for sharing. We did have a question that came in from the audience. Does your app show a map of participant parking locations?
Yes, the short answer is yes. If you go into the app, it comes right up with a map, which will show you know, our locations, and you can tap on those locations and see exactly what the pricing is. And that's what drives out of our MySpot. to deliver that demographic information, pricing, and availability for these garages. If you go to Los Angeles or Chicago or New York or Miami and you're looking for parking, go to our app. You'll see it right there, what the locations we have, availability and pricing in those markets as well, really any market.
Gotcha. And then I had an additional question just on sort of the tech servicing aspect of it. Well, a few questions. Just one with the remote, Sphere Remote, and that being sort of a solution for managers or owners who are trying to lower their staffing expenses. Yep. Is there a call center located locally, or is it just kind of?
So our call center is in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And there are SP Plus employees, in that call center. We do have a backup site in Nashville, Tennessee, where we have additional agents that can get on board. And of course, those capabilities have to grow as we grow that business. And we've got a great team that monitors those metrics and deploys the correct staffing there. But yes, it's managed nationally, not locally. I would like to add in regarding remote. It never means zero staff on site. We can't fix a gate from Austin, Texas. There's got to be some local people. We can't service the devices remotely. There has to be someone on site that takes the cash out of the devices, gets in receipt rolls, works with the tickets, etc. And there's always a local point of contact to that property management of what's going on. So we manage the staffing that's needed locally, coordinating with our call center, but the actual management is definitely done locally. That call center is really for customer service, back of the house operations. You certainly got your same local management horsepower working with local property management on the site.
Gotcha. Great. And then there's a question on if any of the Sphere technology or solutions that you have are proprietary to SP Plus.
Yeah, they are. I'm not a lawyer, or I don't know about all the details on trademarks and proprietary, but yes, this is all developed and owned by SP Plus.
Okay.
So we have the ability to deploy this technology even into facilities where we may not have a current parking contract, and we may not have a parking contract in the future, where now we're just collecting monies in a different way. Again, monetizing a facility that maybe never could afford equipment in the past, where it didn't have the ability to do that. We can bring this to the table in that kind of scenario and partner with that owner and manager to try to monetize the asset.
Gotcha. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to type them in. Otherwise, it looks like we'll be ending a little bit early. Okay. Well, that is record time, John. Thank you for joining us.
Hopefully I didn't talk too fast, but no, good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We have some thank yous coming in. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge. And I guess with that, we'll give back some time to all of our participants and to you, John. Thank you so much again.
Great. Thanks, Gail. Appreciate it so much. And it was great to see everybody at the social event last week, and looking forward to the upcoming events so we can all get back together.
Awesome. Cool. Have a great day, everyone.